All right. There we go. Mark 3:18. Andrew and Philip and Bartholomew and Matthew and Thomas and James, the son of Alphaeus, and Thaddeus and Simon the Canaanite. That's where we find Thaddeus. I want to talk to you today about a man that you probably know nothing about. In fact, I don't know much about him myself. He is part of a group that's more famous than the Beatles, but you may have never even heard his name.
Don't tell me.
He did great things, but there's no record of him. He helped change many lives, but I can't tell you how. His name is Thaddeus. He was one of Yeshua's 12 disciples. Paul tells us in Colossians 3:23, and whatsoever you do, do it heartily, as to the master, and not unto men. You may be the owner of a multi-million-dollar corporation and be unsuccessful in Yahweh's eyes. Or you may be the janitor of that same company and be right where Yahweh wants you to be. Today, people measure success by how big our building is and how many people attend, how large the budget may be, or how many new members in baptisms they may have the previous year. Society today is consumed with superficial measures and success. And as we look to the word of Yahweh, we will find that Yahweh does not measure success the way that man does. The world may look at you as a failure, as worthless, or as a nobody. And you have heard it so much that perhaps you believe it. The enemy has whispered such negative comments in your ears for years. But if you are a child of Yahweh, you are special. You are greatly blessed and highly favored. I want to take some time and look at Thaddeus' life, that Yeshua sees you as somebody even when the world looks at you as a nobody. So let's consider the thought. What does Yahweh and Yeshua see in you? The first thing I would like to say is that people may not know your name, but Yeshua does. The man we're talking about today has several names. He is also called Nebaeus in Matthew 10, verse 3, Philip and Bartholomew, Thomas and Matthew the publican, James the son of Alphaeus, and Nebaeus, whose surname was Thaddeus. He's called Judas, brother of James, in Luke 6:16. Luke 6:16, and Judas, the brother of James, and Judas Iscariot, which also was the traitor. He's called Judas, not Iscariot, in John 14:22. Judas says unto him, not Iscariot, Master, how is it that thou wilt manifest thyself unto us and not unto the world? He is called Thaddeus in Mark 3:18. And Andrew and Philip and Bartholomew and Matthew and Thomas and James the son of Alphaeus and Thaddeus and Simon the Canaanite. It is human nature to desire a measure of recognition. People go to great lengths to stand out from the crowd and to be unique or different. In England, Prince William is the heir apparent to the throne, and I have often heard Prince Harry simply referred to as the spare. Can you imagine having that said about you? He's second class. He's only a spare if something tragic happens to the chosen one. How would you like to be simply known as so-and-so's little brother? Obviously, No one would want to be confused with Judas Iscariot, but we still wouldn't want to be simply referred to as the other one. And that's basically the case for this man Thaddeus. He is called Judas, not Iscariot. Throughout your Bible, you will not hear Thaddeus preach a powerful sermon. You will not see him specifically healing someone who is sick. You will not read that he ever cast out a demon. But it's very possible, and even probable, that he did all of these things. And why did I say that? Is because of what is recorded in Mark chapter 6, verse 7. And he, Yeshua, called unto him the 12, and began to send them forth by two, and gave them power over unclean spirits. And then verse 12, and they went out and preached that men should repent, and they cast out many devils, anointed with oil many that were sick, and healed them. Thaddeus may not have been a Peter or James or John or even an Andrew. He may not have penned a gospel or written an epistle. And I submit to you that Yeshua did not want him to be a Peter, James, John, or Andrew. Yeshua wanted Thaddeus to be Thaddeus. You may look at other preachers or teachers or singers and desire to be like them. You may long for the opportunities they have encountered. You may desire the talents that they have been given. You may envy the success that they have experienced, but you are not them. Yahweh has another path for you. It is better. It is a better path for you, simply because it is Yahweh's path for you. The world may not know your name. You may never see your name in lights or go down in history books, but Yeshua knows your name, and it is worth more than the notoriety of man. You are special in Yahweh's eyes, and he knows your name. People may not realize your worth, but Yeshua does. In Mark 3:13, and he goes up into a mountain, and he called unto him who he would, and they came unto him, and he ordained 12, that they should be with him, and that he might send them forth to preach, and to have power to heal sicknesses, and to cast out devils. For whatever reason, we do not have an in-depth record of Thaddeus' service as a disciple of Messiah, but just the fact that he is named among the 12 should show us something. At this point in Yeshua's ministry, there were multitudes following Yeshua everywhere. Out of this great number of followers, Yeshua only selected 12. Thaddeus was privileged to be called to be in that number. Whatever your service, whatever the task that Yeshua has chosen for you, it is an honor to be chosen to serve. Do not let the world tell you that your place of service is insignificant. You have been chosen by the Creator of the universe to accomplish something for him. Out of over 6 billion people in this world, he called your name. He placed you as the pastor of the specific church for a reason, Kenyon. He placed you as a teacher to have impact on his people, Joel. He placed you in a job for your co-worker in the break room, didn't he? He placed you as a mother or a father, a grandparent, or that child to have an eternal impact. He placed you on that farm to lead the person next to you to Messiah. Whatever your situation, he chose you to serve him. We all have a calling. Will you treasure that calling, or will you take it for granted? Will you be so prideful as to look at your place of service and compare it to someone else and become bitter because yours is not as prominent a position as someone else? Just a little added encouragement. Even before Yeshua chose Thaddeus to be his disciple, Thaddeus was precious to Yeshua before the foundation of the world. You were precious to Yeshua, according as he has chosen us in him before the foundations of the world. Ephesians 1, verse 4. According as he has chosen us in him before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy and without blame before him in love. You were worth enough to Yahweh for him to send his son to die for. You were worth enough in Yeshua's eyes for him to go to the stake for you. The world may say that you are a nobody, but Yahweh says you are somebody. People may not know your name, but Yeshua does. People may not realize your worth, but Yeshua does. And we also see that people may not recognize your effort, but Yeshua does. In my 69 years, I've never heard someone give a sermon on Thaddeus, except for this one. In fact, while studying for this message, I found very few. You probably won't read a book about him. The fact is, he may never get the pat on the back that you think you deserve. People may never see all that you do. They may not see the long hours and late nights. They may not know the financial sacrifices that you have made. Others may not know of the emotional struggles and burnout that you have incurred. And I'm not referring to the ministry issues. There are rewards for those who are simply faithful wherever Yahweh has placed them. Colossians 3:23, and whatever you do, do it heartily as to the master, and not unto men, knowing that the master you shall receive the reward of the inheritance, for you serve the master Messiah. Whatever you do, do it with all your heart. Yahweh will reward your faithfulness. Don't waste your time waiting and longing for large opportunities which may never come. But faithfully handle the little things that are always claiming your attention. Even though we do not have the backstory of Thaddeus' life, we are certain that, like Peter and James and John and Andrew and Levi, he left everything and he ordered to follow Yeshua. Notice the conversation between Peter and Yeshua on the subject of rewards in Matthew 19, verse 27. Then answered Peter and said unto him, Behold, we have forsaken all and followed thee. What shall we have therefore? And Yeshua said unto them, Truly I say unto you, that you which have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit on the throne of his glory, you also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. Even though the world may not recognize your effort, even though you may never be rewarded here, Yeshua has much more in store for you. You too have an eternal reward. Matthew 6:19, do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys and where thieves do not break in and steal. Every deed in the name of Yeshua will be blessed and rewarded in eternity. Men may not recognize your effort, but rest assured that Yeshua knows and he will reward your faithfulness. Mark 9:41. For whosoever shall give you a cup of water to drink in my name, because you belong to Messiah. Truly, I say to you, he shall not lose his reward. I know you may feel that it is all in vain. You may feel that you are wasting your time, or you might be ready to throw it up your hands and quit. The world says you should. The enemy says you should. You may think you should. You may never have anything that the people of this world would want. You may never have power. You may never have prominence. You may never have possessions. You may never have prosperity. But the child of Yahweh, you will stand before the judgment seat of Yahweh, Messiah. 2 Corinthians 5:10. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Messiah, that everyone may receive the things done in his body according to that he has done, whether it be good or bad. At that judgment seat, there will be crowns given to the faithful. We can read about 5 different crowns in the word of Yahweh. The first one is the incorruptible crown, awarded to faithfulness to the master. In 1 Corinthians 9:25, and every man that strives for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible. We have the crown of life for the person who endures and overcomes temptation. In James chapter 1, verse 12. Blessed is the man that endures temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Master has promised to them that love him. Then we have the crown of rejoicing. This is the soul winner's crown. In 1 Thessalonians 2:19. For what is our hope, or joy, or crown of rejoicing? Are not even you in the presence of our Master Yeshua Messiah at his coming? Then we have the crown of righteousness. This will be given to those who anticipate and live in the light of the return of Yeshua. In 2 Timothy 4, verse 8. Henceforth there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Master, the righteous judge, shall give me at that day, and not to me only, but unto all them also that love his appearing. And then we have the crown of glory. This will be given to the faithful who give themselves to lead and feed the flock of Yahweh. In 1 Peter 5, verse 4. And when the chief shepherd shall appear, you shall receive a crown of glory that fades not away. We may not know very many details of Thaddeus' story, but I can assure you that he stored up treasures in heaven. The world may not know your name. They may not realize your worth or recognize your effort, but Yeshua does. And if he does, isn't that all that matters? Fox Books and Martyrs records that Thaddeus, or Jude, was crucified for his faith in Edessa in AD 72. Others believe that he was pierced with arrows when he refused to deny his faith in Messiah. Regardless of the method, it is commonly accepted that he was martyred for his faith in Messiah. He was bold, and he was faithful. He was somebody. Have you listened to the attacks from the enemy? Somewhere along the way, did you walk away from your service because you felt unworthy? Did you quit because you thought no one saw or cared what you did? If you walked away, chances are you were serving for the wrong reason in the first place. I encourage you to remember who called you, who sent you out, and who will be enabled to accomplish his will in your life. His name is Yeshua. So you think you're a nobody? Well, Yahweh says you are a somebody, and that's all that really matters. Yahweh bless.